Hello and welcome to We Just Want to Talk About One Piece. Today we are going to be reviewing Little Garden. We got our vice captain Lucian with
Hello.
us. We got our main captain Inagro here as well.
We don't have technical issues on this show.
And we have myself, the navigator, Saflam, in the house. So, Little Garden, named for should I just do a little synopsis just real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are not reading the series with us, and it's just like, why aren't you reading it? The whole point is to read it with us.
True.
But whatever. Quick synopsis. After the crew takes on a mission to take Princess Vivi Nefertiti back to her kingdom of Alabasta, we land at the next island of our adventure into the Grand Line. This is technically the third island if you can't reverse mountain. We enter Little Garden, a jungle island that has dinosaurs from the prehistoric age. It also has two giants, and that's why it's called Little Garden, because its inhabitants do not view it as a big jungle. They view it as a little garden because they are giants. We deal with dastardly foes that we've dealt with before. We deal with new foes, and we win the day and go on to the next island. I think that's a good synopsis of what happens.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs were a surprisingly small part of the plot line. Just dinosaurs.
They were there,
isn't that weird?
and then they were decapitated.
Yeah, two of them
Twice.
were.
Yeah,
Four of them were killed, actually.
And then Sanji turned a saber-toothed tiger into a mount, like an MMO player.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be a bigger. I think they're there to show like how dastardly the giants are. I think they're there to compare the giants, like for us as the audience, like we
to the Straw Hats and their strength.
True, yeah. Like whoever believes that dinosaurs exist, they know that they're enormous creatures of great strength and all that. And then these giants just come in and chop their heads off, and Zoro and Sanji come in and kill them in 2 seconds just for meat, you know. So I feel like they're there to set a baseline for what our crew and what giants can do.
Yeah, for sure. Bit of garnish.
But what did you think of Vivi has like a little explanation when she realizes that they're on a dinosaur island where like even before they land on Little Garden, she talks about how only the beginning part of the Grand Line is that crazy, like with the storming and the snowing and the lightning and all that stuff when we go to Whiskey Peak, because of all the and she explains it. I said it in the last episode or the episode before that where I was like, oh, it's probably because it's the beginning, and I didn't say it was because of the magnetic fields, but I said it's only the beginning part of the Grand Line. I mean, of course, I have hindsight. 2020. Hindsight is 2020. Of course, I have hindsight. I know what happens in the series afterwards, but it always like bothered me why the rest of the Grand Line wasn't as chaotic as the first part, but it actually gets an explanation, and I either I missed it or I forgot it. And the explanation is that because the 7 magnetic fields that you have to choose for your journey, they all gather at Reverse Mountain, between Reverse Mountain and the first 7 islands you go to. Is that part of the sea so chaotic because of that?
Yeah, like it's so many different climates all you know, hitting each other at the same time, creating this like crazy, unique back and forth, like constant back and forth, and crazy storms and all that. So it's pretty cool, very unique.
I was just gonna ask Inagro what he thought of that little lore dump, and the more importantly, what did he think about the fact that every island could literally be like Oda has set it up so that every island can be whatever the hell he wants because of this phenomenon of the Grand Line having such specific climates for each of the islands. What did you think of that aspect of the world building?
Okay, well, my initial impression, I'll read my note from the beginning, very early on. Note number 4, Jurassic Park filler arc. I was
It is
wrong,
pretty filler.
but I was kind of under the assumption around that point of oh, they're just gonna do whatever. I can see how this probably has like 500 episodes of filler content. Easy.
I think this is like 5 or 6 episodes in the anime. It's a slog to get through, to be honest. I don't like Little Garden a lot. It's rough to get through. But because I read it, I'm so fast at reading. I was, I don't have to wait for the anime to do like the staring contest between Luffy and the bad guy.
Yeah.
I can just like skim past the panels. I think that's a very positive of the manga for me. I don't have to wait
and
for
there
things
are
to happen.
good parts of Little Garden, and so, I think getting to them at your own pace and not waiting forever is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the strength of the medium over television, games, and such. You set your own pace.
Yeah.
Everything goes as long as you want. Every panel lasts as long as you want it to.
Yeah. And I think even like in the first chapter, I don't know, there's a bit I really like where, on one of the pages it's like, oh man, look at that dolphin, it's so cute. And we see it on this little panel and they're looking up and then it's revealed it's this massive dolphin about to eat the Mary.
I was like, it's the dolphin from the first 5 chapters that he ate at a lunch with at a restaurant.
Well, obviously it's not.
And then it almost ate Luffy for lunch.
I love how the panel before that, like all their eyes darken.
That was really cool.
They realize it's so huge. The comedy is still hidden. It's hidden hard. Home run after home run. I love it.
Yeah.
What I really like about this arc. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, you're fine.
Go on. What I was gonna say was what I really like about this arc is the introduction of the race of giants and their kind of culture of pride, and you learn a little bit about their like religion of the god, the warrior god, or something like that. I haven't seen these giants in so long. I forget their names, Broggy and Dory, I think, or Dory.
Yep. Dory
and
Broggy.
Right?
You got it.
That's it.
Dory and Broggy are like, and just because they're so linked to Ussop, and they kind of, I'm not really making any sense. So
well, no,
I'm gonna ask
you
guys what you thought about the giants.
I think it's cool. Like one of the nice things, like you just mentioned, Ussop. It feels like through this, Ussop finally has like a clearer goal. Now, when he says, "I want to be a brave warrior of the sea," he has an image in mind. It's not just this vague concept. You know what I mean? That's probably one of my favorite things to come out of this arc. Is now when he says, "I want to be a brave warrior of the sea." Not even that, because Nami said that to him, of like, "So you want to be a giant?" And Brogy said that to him, of like, "Oh, so you want to be a giant?" He's like, No. I just want to fight with honor, so that when I die, I don't look back and say like, what if, and regret things. And I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I like having a clearer goal because he easily had the most vague goal of the whole crew, and I really like the clarification.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I wrote in my notes actually. Inagra, what did you think of the introduction of the race of giants?
I really, really liked it, and this arc. I really, really liked this arc.
Really?
I think I can just flatly narrow down my one problem is the antagonists in the secondary half are not that interesting. But other than that, I loved it. Probably top 2 or 3 arcs.
Yeah, honestly, I wish
I
Barak
really
warps
liked
weren't
everything
here.
with. Yeah, they weren't that interesting, but I really liked everything with They caused a lot of cool things to happen.
Yeah.
They themselves were not.
Their
Cool.
fight
I do.
in and of itself was the least interesting, but they are the conduit for cool things to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to a thing later. I want to talk about very much, but for now, the Giants. They were really cool. Like they were the most maybe the most blatant red oni blue oni I've ever seen.
Also,
Which is
Oh
not
yeah, we
bad.
did.
It's a
We
good
talked
trope.
about that.
yeah, in
The
their
other,
design,
Yeah.
by the
no, it
way.
makes sense. Their colors.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all clicking for me right now.
Yeah.
When we talked about the red oni and the blue
Yeah.
oni stuff, and I was like, why are they the red ogre and the blue ogre? That's so random. Like literally my whole life, and
I
now
think
it just
Oni is
clicked.
just ogre.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh God. Wow.
But
You're
like
right.
the whole, it's a very popular trope. Very, very popular trope.
Yeah,
Even like in all the whole world, but especially Japanese media.
The epithet in Romanji is Ao Oni no Dori and Aka Oni no Brogi. So yes, it is literally Blue Oni and Red Oni, and then their name.
Interesting.
So,
But I really like the two of them as characters. They were probably my favorite single arc characters so far.
I really
Like,
like what they introduced to the series, which is the idea of pride and willpower, and like Usopp describes it, it's like you have an invisible flag in your heart and you don't want that flag to go away. And you don't want that flag to fall down. And the first time this was kind of introduced was back in Baratie, where Zeph is talking to Sanji about how there's an invisible spear in some people and how that spear just never gives up and never backs down. And we get a little bit more exploration of that in this arc, where it's like these two giants respect each other, but they also have to
follow along with their honor and continue this fight that's been ongoing for so long.
Yeah.
You know?
it's a very interesting arc.
Yeah. What do you think of them fighting for so long that they've like forgotten their initial reason? Do you like that?
I'm a very, very big fan of the I forgot why we started fighting.
Okay, I wasn't sure how you'd fall on that.
Always good. Always
That's
good.
a trope? Really?
Yeah, I would say so. It's not common, but I've seen it in a few different things.
It usually ties very heavily into, like, it's very rarely that it's separated from the cycle of revenge trope.
Really?
Where like it's because obviously it's rare to have characters that like would actually live long enough to forget why they started fighting. It is normally much more heavily tied into like
a generational.
I'm going to reference Attack on Titan again, but it's the cycle of revenge, which I hate the name of the trope, by the way. I don't know why. I just don't like it.
You don't like it because of
it's
one instance.
I don't like it because of The Last of Us Part 2. Let's not get into that today. But Attack on Titan did it well, and lots of things. It's a very popular trope again, where X is fighting Y, and they have kids, and they don't like each other, because their parents don't like each other. They have kids, and they don't like each other they don't really know why. At this point, they don't really care. Their grandparents are dead.
I mean, honestly, that could be, you can extract that to the real world easily enough.
Yes, the cycle of revenge is a very fighting people because we fall is a popular, not a popular thing, a real life issue.
Right. Yeah.
But this fight isn't like for revenge. It's
no,
like
it's
a
for
duel
honor.
of honor.
It's like we've fought for so long.
I like
it's a unique
it here
take
because it is very rare that this is separated from cycle of revenge.
Right.
We forgot why we were fighting. It's because you don't have characters that live that long.
I love how Zoro and Sanji kind of represent that
like modern
rivalry.
day. This is the first time that the two of them have really had like an argument with each other.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, they've just kind of been like, existing next to each other. Helping out
Zoro did
Luffy.
things and Sanji stood in the background.
Right. Well, I disagree if you're talking about this arc, but in past arcs, yes.
No, not here, not here.
Okay, cool.
Arcs, that's what I mean.
Agreed.
I like the complaint I had last arc addressed in this one. Usopp and Sanji got to do things while everyone else still did things.
So arguably, they were able to do things because of them being asleep last arc, right? Baroque Works doesn't know Usopp and Sanji's face when they arrive on the island. They don't have sketches of them. The Unluckies only knew...
That doesn't make last arc good.
I know, I'm just saying that is the reasoning, right? Like, they only have sketches of Vivi, Nami, Luffy, and Zoro. Mm-hmm. They were asleep, the other two. And so now, Usopp has fought some of their officers, so they would know Usopp's face, but Sanji has only talked to... Well, we'll get to that eventually, but, they don't know Sanji's face.
I like Sanji got to do things in this arc. I don't like Sanji in this arc.
Fair, yeah. All. I like what he does in this arc.
It's cool.
But his character
I just feel like he stumbles
annoying.
Across it and then falls down a ditch and lands in a pile of money, basically.
That's fair.
I mean, but I think you guys are kind of describing plot armor, but to a certain extent, every series has plot armor, so you can't really just like...
no, it's not even that.
I wish he had been... That's a better word for it.
I wish he had been... plot convenience. I don't like it, though. I wish he had earned getting that cool thing.
I guess,
I wish he had to fight someone or learn some lesson or talk to or something. Other than he happened to come across random house and picked up the phone.
I mean, it wasn't random house. It was a candle house in the middle of a jungle that has dinosaurs in it.
It was a house in the middle of nowhere. So he goes inside
and then he enjoys a cup of tea, which is kind of funny. I like that part.
Also, if we're going to talk about this part anyways, you said picks up the phone.
For the whole arc.
So... He did not pick up a phone. He picked up the Den Mushi, or the snail telephone.
Oh,
yay!
What are your thoughts on the phones in the series being snails?
Whatever.
Oh, come on! It's so cool!
The best fictional device ever.
The mail's delivered by pelicans. The phones are snails. One Piece is so unique and cool.
Too. I think the snails do most long distance communication because I don't know if it's in the SBS or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it's not really described in the manga. But the Denden Mushi are basically these are a race of snails that are they all have a connection. What is the word? It's not a Wi-Fi connection. It's like a
telepathic?
Yeah, they all have they're all on the same
wavelength.
Yeah. And so mostly the Marines use these devices to get wanted posters across, to communicate with each other, like orders and all that stuff. But you see it here that Baroque Works also uses Denden Mushis. And if you look at the Denden Mushi that Sanji was using, it's kind of designed like Mr. 3, and so that indicates that this is Mr. 3's Denden Mushi. It's his phone, and all these snails are like this. They're all designed to either look like the person that owns them, or just to maybe a normal version of whatever. It's kind of like customization.
Yeah.
I think the snails themselves take up the identity of whoever talks through them. I think that's one of their aspects. Well, I feel like you can get that more throughout the anime than you can through the manga.
Of whoever should be talking through them, right? Because Sanji was talking through Mr. 3's, and Crocodile never picked up on it. Even though he was, welcome to Restaurant Le Crap.
Okay, I don't want to talk about Crocodile yet, because that's just and all the reveals of the villains and stuff.
No, I know. We know his name. So that's why. Yeah.
He does in fact have a giant crocodile.
Okay, I think we should go back a bit to. So we talked about the Pride and the Giants. I really, really hate. I don't hate Mr. 3 as a villain. I'm not gonna say that because I love Mr. 3. He was a really cool villain this arc.
Okay.
But I do hate the goddamn candle service. I hate that shit because it's like 3 or 4 episodes in the anime. It's just Candles House! And he has like this goofy voice, which fits him. But it's just like we're spending 4 episodes with Zoro and Nami and Vivi on this dumb carousel of stupid candle wax.
And here's where I come in. Because we're here now. What is it? It's Brogy. That's the one that
Brogy, yeah.
Brogy, yeah.
Brogy, Zoro, and Vivi going, okay, we're gonna cut off our limbs so we can get out of here and fight. We're dead. That is the coolest thing that's happened in this series so far.
Yeah, Zoro just steals the show again. Moment. Like that every arc, he's like,
good moment.
Hold on, guys, real quick. I haven't gotten enough attention this arc. Let me get the coolest moment of the arc again. I'm cutting off my legs.
Yeah,
and he does.
And Vivi going with him.
He starts like, to. He has leg damage. Still.
Yeah. I think for me the best moment in the arc goes to Ussop. To be honest.
Fair. He does have good moments, but like, come on.
He's fine. It's nowhere near as cool.
He wasn't about to cut off his own legs.
I think it's because I hate the candle service so much because it takes so much time in the anime that everything associated with that just like hurts me.
You've been tainted.
Even though I love Zoro.
So cool.
It is really cool.
It's a good moment for Zoro to show it. He's always like that. And then it's really good character development for both Brogy and Vivi.
Vivi's like, you know what?
Vivi, I like Vivi's
Vivi.
Little, I don't know if it's a character arc, I would say, but it's more like she's kind of
an
assimilating herself.
No, she has an arc, absolutely, from the first, like, getting used to the crew with, like, what the hell are you guys doing? We're on the Grand Line. Why are you drinking and just sitting around doing nothing? To, like, recognizing, oh, they're doing this because they're super strong and can do this.
Like, yeah, but it's not just that, but, like, she's kind of taking
her fully committing to her, like doing whatever it takes, her fully committing to her goal.
Yeah, like we keep getting flashbacks of her with Igaram, and he's like, you have to survive no matter what. Like, you have to, it's an evil world where you have to sacrifice people. And she's always like on the opposite side of that spectrum. She's like, yeah, I'll risk my life to go on an adventure with Luffy. Yeah, I'll risk my life to so that I can fight another day, even if I will bleed out and die, you know? I think I really like that aspect of that. She's not really listening to him, but she keeps remembering that she has to survive no matter what, but all her actions indicate that she's the kind of person that would sacrifice her life for the greater good.
That's why that's such a good moment with Zoro and Brogy, where she is like throughout it's only like 10 chapters, but throughout those 10 chapters she is questioning and thrown into situations. Is she really willing to do anything to like save her homeland or whatever?
I think she is based on this.
Yeah, I'm willing. Like, it's worth the risk. Like, cut off my limbs. We're gonna go fight with no legs. We can do it.
And keep in mind, by the way, at the time they don't have an eternal pose, so they'd be stuck on this island for a year with no limbs and no doctor.
They're super dead.
I mean, who wrapped up Dory though? At the end, didn't they?
No one is big enough to wrap up Dory.
so
Brogy.
I think they all know they're going to die. They're just going to die fighting.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. Until, and I think this is my one of my favorite parts, is until Luffy shows up, and then Zoro's like, all right, true, but Zoro's still cutting off his legs if only Usopp shows up. If only Usopp and Karoo show up, Zoro's cutting off his legs. But Luffy's there, so he stops.
I have to say, I forgot about the bird.
How dare
I didn't
you? That
remember it.
bird got tortured and never ratted.
Well, no, I love him now. He got tortured. Well, they tortured the duck.
Uh-huh.
But I forgot about him
And he
before.
never quacked.
There was just a random duck on the ship, and I didn't remember him at all. I don't remember him now before this arc. I'm just assuming he was in at least a chapter before this.
He has literally always been with Vivi.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Lucian, you said he never quacked, and I was like, I never thought those words would come out of somebody ever.
Probably why he's a duck. Also, I do like that Luffy just called it bird.
Yeah. Luffy does make up his own nicknames for basically anyone he meets, and it's one of the best recurring jokes throughout the series.
Wait, who does he call Karoo? What does he call him? Duck?
Duck or bird, something like that, yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my god. Yeah, Karoo is I love the Usopp Karoo take on like Mr. Five and Miss Valentine, who we've seen before. Like they got easily like kicked around by Luffy and oh wait, no. What if we're talking about the fights? So here's something really cool. The painting lady, Miss Golden Week.
Yeah.
I like her because she's kind of like Luffy's antithesis. Like she's a hypnotist, right? And Luffy with hypnotists, he's not really like the smartest person in the room, right? He's emotionally
intelligent. She's a competent hypnotist, which is why she's much more suitable than Django was.
Yeah. Does she have a devil fruit? I don't know.
So that's the interesting thing. I checked this. She doesn't. So she just paints, and she's so good at painting to where she's able to manipulate her like people's emotions. And so like her color trap abilities are purely based off of her painting skills. Which I think is so really cool. Like to me that makes Miss Golden Week super cool and interesting.
I agree, and this idea that like Luffy can't handle hypnotists, like these are like his one weakness. I thought that was a cool just I don't know. I thought that was a cool way to put his brain power at. Like he can't handle people that manipulate.
I much preferred his fight against Miss Golden Week than Mr. 3.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. Huh?
No, but
Usopp, I didn't like either of them. I thought they were both really boring.
The thing was, he couldn't fight off Miss Golden Week. That's the problem. Like he can't
do anything. He can't overpower and just punch her.
Yes.
You know?
It's just a really bad pairing.
In theory, that's very interesting. In like execution, it was still boring. Like I didn't care about him solving the problem.
Yeah, okay, but like that, it shows that he isn't able to overcome everything by himself, right? Like in so many scenarios.
It's a fine thing to learn again, but it was just kind of uninteresting to me.
I agree with Inagro. It was boring, but I just like that Usopp had to help him out.
Yeah, no, I agree.
In his time of need.
You know, I like that Usopp had his moment.
And then he also saves everybody in the end from the dumb candle service. Stupid. I hate the candle service so much.
I'm gonna summon a wax mech.
with aggro on it.
They summoned a mech, and I don't think it's cool. It's obviously real bad. There's a mecha in it, and I don't like it. You did something real wrong.
Yeah, Usopp was really cool. Like, the reason he stood out was he used his usual, like, lying, trickery, and outsmarting to win, but it was just really well done, you know? Like, I think it's because only Usopp and Luffy were able to fight. And then at a certain point, only Usopp, when Luffy was fully hypnotized. He also, you know, withstood 500 kilos or 1,100 pounds of force just sitting on top of him, which, you know, should probably kill him. He's not Zoro, Luffy. But hey, he withstood it. Props.
That was really cool. I like that. What I liked about Mr. 3 though was his introduction and how he's always like, you have to be cunning, or what he said, one of his first lines is like, people with devil fruits, if you can't utilize your devil fruit correctly, then you're basically useless. I really liked that line specifically because his devil fruit is more to do, like, he uses his brain more than he uses his devil fruit. Like, yeah, he has the candle and it's really interesting, but if he didn't have his smarts, then he wouldn't know how to use it in a fight or how to use it to trap a freaking giant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Dory and Broggy were both at full capacity when the Baroque Works people came to the island, the Baroque Works people would be dead already, right? Because they're two giants, they're really powerful and strong, and they're not going to tolerate a bunch of humans messing with their fight, right? But it's because he used his brains along with his devil fruit that allowed him to basically defeat two giants and like half of a pirate crew. You know,
And his
yeah, they're a rookie
resources too,
pirate
because
crew,
he
but
didn't just use his devil fruit; he used Mr.
yeah,
Five's devil fruit.
yeah. Oh yeah, he put the
Because the
explosions in the rum. It came
explosion, he
from Mr.
doesn't.
5. There you go. That makes
Mr.
sense.
3 doesn't have any, explosive abilities. He put Mr. Five's boogers in the alcohol.
But like his one downfall is underestimating them, I think.
Mr. 5 is not cool enough for his design.
I mean,
You don't like his design?
in
when they put it in
reality,
there?
what he does is really cool. He's basically Bakugo, but instead of sweat, it's
He doesn't
boogers.
deserve his
Oh,
design.
you guys are talking about Mr. 5.
Yeah,
Yes, Mr. 5. He does not deserve that good of a design.
he does. What if Bakugo, instead of having explosive sweat, had explosive boogers?
I'd hate him.
In all fairness, again, at range he uses boogers, but really it's anything that can explode. He ate explosive gunpowder, which, did lead to his downfall. And that was, again, one of my favorite Usopp moments was, exploding star! He's like, I gotcha.
The way he defeated both of them. Usopp basically defeated 3 out of the 4 villains that were there. Because he freed Nami and Vivi, who defeated Valentine, and then he also freed Zoro, who defeated 5 after the Tabasco sauce incident. So it's like basketball. He gave the ball for the layup, for everybody else. And then what, Inagra, I wanted to ask you what you thought about like the final confrontation between Mr. 3 and Luffy, like where he chases him and then there's a bunch of versions of him and he's like, as soon as you come close to me, I'll stab you. And then...
Well, you see, when he went and said, look at how many clones I have, I said, in 2 pages he's gonna punch the correct one and it's gonna be done. And then he did it. And then it was over.
Did you like it, or were you like it was like underwhelming?
I hope we never see Mr. 3 again, is all I say.
Well,
I hope he gets eaten by dinosaurs. He won't, because it's this series and every single character is going to come back some way.
I mean,
like
they did send an assassin after him.
That's true. Oh god, I'm so excited. I saw the panel of Mr. 2 and I got so excited. I don't even know why, but we're not talking about that yet. Yeah, so what did you think about Mr. 3's defeat? Lucian.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking.
I thought you were trying to get me to have more thoughts on it.
Yeah. No, I really liked it. That was also something I wrote down to ask Agro about. I was also curious his thoughts on that. I don't know.
Did you have more thoughts on Agro?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
No.
I just love his claim
he's
of
gone,
just...
and it went out exactly as I thought it would happen. The second he cloned himself.
I don't know. I do love Luffy's line of just instinct. I don't know. I don't know, man. Just instinct. The feel. I just went off the vibes. I attacked right. It
was a cool
As
panel when he said instinct.
Yeah.
That was a really cool panel.
Look, we're obviously going with some sort of Luffy, like there's some sort of higher power in a metaphorical sense. No, well, not, but also literal, but also not.
Luffy is God?
Yeah.
theory.
You got
Pirate King, more like Pirate God.
Oh god. When you can be a god. Why be a king when you can be a god?
That's the sequel series. You think it's ending soon?
I think those are the fights in Ussop and the giants.
I mean,
I think we should.
Wow, is that everything?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean the giants, their fight. You know.
Oh,
like...
I wish Dory had stayed dead.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't have gotten the best panel. Okay, we wouldn't have gotten the best drawing in all of One Piece up to now.
I don't care. The art's not that great.
Are you okay? Hold on.
Hot take. Hot take.
You're gonna say that Hakoku wasn't incredible?
No, it was good. I don't think it was like 10 out of 10 or anything. Art's good, not great.
Really?
Yet. Maybe it will.
I mean, there are considerably better manga now. I would imagine. I mean, I'm sure that there were at the time too. For a weekly show or manga, it's really good, and it only gets better. And so, while I would say like now, if I were to compare One Piece to like a currently serialized manga and the quality of that, yeah, like not current One Piece, like what we're currently reading in One Piece, not like, you know, the most current chapter of One Piece, but what we are reading to, you know, something from 2022. Yeah, it's not up to that, but I would say that it is still really good, and this is probably my favorite drawing so far.
I actually like the goofy art style, to be honest. In the anime, it's a little bit more defined, but here it's like in the anime, Zoro is drawn a little bit more serious than the rest of the crew. I don't know why that's the case, but I feel like that is. But here in the manga, everybody just kind of looks goofy, and I don't know. I really like that aspect of it. I didn't think like, and it's still goofy to this day, but it's more goofy right now. It's just it feels like I'm watching a cartoon.
No, yeah, the anime changes style significantly post time skip, or maybe even before then, but
I would say the anime changes styles like 3 or 4 times, I would say.
Yeah, but the most significant like style switch I would say is around then. I mean, there are some before then, but I just know I can reference that as a time point with Aggro and not spoil him.
It's a time. It's a time you like that people will go, should we do a style change up? Would that be better for production or for who's on staff?
Right. I mean, even in the most recent arc, there's been a massive style change, which some people don't like. I do.
It's like perfect.
I like it. But yeah, but for this, you know, for Hakoku, it's one of my favorite moments in the manga so far. It literally means warrior nation. They combine, you know, Dory and Brogy combine their attack. It destroys their weapons that they've had for 100 years. They put a giant hole in the island eater, which allows them to escape, and it's easily one of my favorite moments of, you know.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a good moment. I just think it would have been a stronger moment if Brogy had done that on his own, and he had learned his lesson after Dory had died, not learning his.
It
would
have That's an interesting way to take it.
I think it would have been more interesting. It also would have made the characters more distinct from one another. Because even though they're both good, they're both the same character.
Yeah, but it was their constant fighting that allowed for Dory to survive, right? Because their weapons are so... I like that aspect.
Again,
yeah.
That they're...
I like what happened. I can just think immediately, I think that would make it more interesting.
Yeah, I think early on too,
my one complaint like is that they are the same character. They have no differences other than design.
I mean, even like, we did see a flashback of them. We see what caused their initial fight. They can't remember it because it's been so long. But, you know, it's just some little girl like, hey, which of those two, which of those two fish are bigger?
In the anime, they do this thing where the little girl, she asks the question, and then her face, the camera goes into a fisheye lens, and her face is in the center, and it's so creepy.
No, not a fisheye lens.
Ooh, her face is so creepy. She's like, which one is bigger? And then her face elongates into the fisheye lens, and then they're like, which one is bigger? And it's just like, the creepy tone. Like in the manga, you don't even feel it. It feels like an innocent question, but in the anime, it just takes it and twists her words like she's a demon that's coming out from the underworld. It's so creepy. I love it.
Yeah, I do kind of like the read of it just being an innocent kid asking a question, but I do also
that's
like
great. That's the best part.
I love both versions.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is like they are both good. And again, it feels like, it's a parallel to Zoro and Sanji in this arc, where they're like, no, I killed the bigger one. I killed the bigger one. Except they're giants, so the way they settle arguments is a fight to the death. Hey, God will protect me. Who needs lawyers? I'll kill you.
And I think it'll foreshadow just like Zoro and Sanji's relationship generally. I think like Dory and Broggy are going to be like the future of Sanji and Zoro's relationship. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sanji and his 007 escapades. Sanji needs to be the next James Bond. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah,
they need it. He's so like creative and intelligent, and he figures out the situation so quickly.
That is his unique skill set within the crew, I'd say. Well, Nami is probably pretty good at that.
Cooking, don't forget cooking.
No, I know, but fighting-wise,
relevant to the plot of the show.
It is
manga.
It is relevant to the plot of the show. It's less relevant in the manga. But they would all starve to death. So.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not complaining about it.
But combat-wise and personality-wise, Sanji is the best suited, barring maybe Nami, to like espionage. I'd say that the two of them are probably the best. Well, if you count Vivi, she was able to go undercover in an enemy organization for however many years.
Is higher on my tier list than Sanji.
The same.
Not I won't argue with that. That makes sense. I won't argue
you're
with
wrong about
Ussop. Vivi's a good character. She's very. I forget how well defined she is so early on.
Oh, she's great.
Like even at Whiskey Peak and like Little Garden, these early arcs where we see her, her character is just so. It's an enigma. Like she has to survive at all costs, but she also is willing to sacrifice anything to save her people and her friends.
And she genuinely only improves arc by arc.
I'd like you to not say anything to this.
Okay.
Because I will infer from whatever you say. I hope her needing to protect her island at any cost causes conflict between her and the Straw Hats. That is all I will say. No comment.
I plead the fifth.
Yes. We can move on now. I just wanted to put that out there into the ether.
No, it's always interesting for you to throw out a comment like that.
Yeah, it's a good theory. But back to Sanji and just like the introduction of Crocodile. Guys, what did you think, Inagra? I want your thoughts first before I kind of geek out about it.
Did you know he has a really big crocodile? Because that's all I got out of it.
You think he's a villain with his giant crocodile?
What? Ridiculous. He's a great dude.
Better than a tiny cat.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, but the funny thing is, I'm comparing Sanji to James Bond. He feels like a James Bond villain. Do you guys feel that with his
that's why I'm
send another
really
agent to kill
out
Mr.
of
3? He lied to me.
Like I'm interested in him. I don't have any opinions on him yet.
Hmm.
Again, he's being set up. I am curious where the setup will pay off.
I just love the dark. Like, we don't see his face yet. You know, we know everything about him except what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that aspect of the villains in One Piece in general. Like when it's not revealed yet. I don't know. Oda's made revelations of character designs in art form. You know, every time a new character is revealed or like hinted at, like the fandom goes crazy. It's strange. It's very strange, and he did it with Crocodile so well. Like that's his, like I said, Oda is really good at introducing anything really well and encapsulating a character or an idea into its introduction. So with Crocodile, it's you lied to me, and then Sanji's like, "Oh, I just took them out. I thought they were dead." Like a normal boss would have been like, "Oh, okay," but this isn't a normal boss. This is Mr. Zero, Crocodile, Shichibukai, Warlord of the Sea. You don't lie to him. You don't mess with him, and he's willing to take out his upper agents to settle like to settle these atrocities that happened to him. He's like, "How dare you lie to me? You are dying now." But like he doesn't tell that to Mr. 3. You know, he's conniving and deceiving. I like that aspect of him.
Yeah, he only mentions to what is his
Miss All Sunday?
Thank you. He only just says to Miss All Sunday, like, yeah, just send Mr. 2 out to go take care of that, please. And then yeah. I don't know, I dig it.
I'm definitely interested to see where he goes, what his deal is.
Yeah, and then is it where we see Smoker first, or do we see Mr. 2 first? I think we see Smoker first.
We see Tashigi and Smoker. Tashigi has a new blade.
Oh yeah, she got it from
She
Mr.
got
11.
Kashu from Mr. 11. But yeah, and then we see Smoker. Smoker's crew intercepted part of the transmission.
I was like, who are you talking about? I don't know these people.
What?
I remember.
You forgot about Smoker and Tashigi?
It's been 2 arcs.
Smoker
I
is
remember
the smoking guy.
I forgot their names. As soon as I saw them, I knew who they were. No, as soon as I knew them, as soon as I saw them, I knew who they were.
Yeah.
I forgot their names when you were talking about them.
They could only make out part of the transmission, and they could clearly make out Princess Vivi, Straw Hats, Mission Accomplished, and Mr. Zero. And then Smoker tricked Mr. 11
for them
into, admitting that, that he had orders from Mr. Zero. He tricked Mr. 11.
What were his orders? What are Mr. 11's orders to do? Did we ever find out?
I need to double check. I had 128 pulled up a second ago.
Arinagra, are you excited that Smoker and Tashigi are back in play?
Particularly, they're fine. I'm interested to see how they eventually team up with the Straw Hats.
Okay, it's a theory you got.
You know, it's not a theory. It's come on.
I like how you are using tropes to kind of figure out how the story is, because like you said at the end of the East Blue little review that we did, you talked about how this is patient zero of all the tropes, and
it's not even, it's just it's basic literacy setup.
Yeah, I agree
your
with
antagonist group, your protagonist group, who are in the eyes of the law not good guys, but the cops will call them over there. We've set them up to where they're not bad people; they are good people, and so there will be conflict and misunderstandings, and non-misunderstandings that are just, we're going to arrest you because we're the Navy, and then eventually they'll have to team up for the greater bad or good, for the greater good against the greater bad. I'm sure this will happen many times. It's not a complaint. It's usually pretty cool.
Yeah, there are some interesting examples of that.
And I think with
I am excited to see them team up.
There's one very famous example within One Piece that springs to mind that it comes much later. That is referenced a lot. That jumps to mind as you describe that. So I can't wait till we get to that. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about it, but
yeah,
it's not coming to mind.
The orders thing, by the way, real quick, is just Smoker didn't say anything about particular orders. He was just like, "Oh, really? The criminal organization? Like, oh, you're way off the mark." And Smoker's like, "Oh, really? Explain the orders we found in your pocket." And Eleven's like, "What? I burned those." And he's like, "There was nothing in your pockets."
Lame. That's such a cop tactic, though.
It really
is. Smoker could be like in a cop show.
Yeah.
Santi needs to be the next James Bond, and Smoker can be like John Wick or something. I don't know. Wait, John Wick's not a cop.
No, he does kill a bunch of people.
Very much not.
What's like a famous cop? Shaft? No, Shaft is a PI, I think.
I have no idea.
I was thinking more detective, maybe like, I don't know.
Yeah. I can't think of a detective, though.
I'm waiting.
Like a famous detective.
Name a famous detective character, please, someone.
Detective Holmes or Sherlock Holmes.
I know one. I can think of a million.
Smoker's not a Sherlock Holmes. He's
private.
He's like a guns blazing kind of. He's like a Western kind of.
We'll go with. Okay, we're moving past this.
Come on, there's got to be like a
Columbo.
I don't even know who that is.
I got to introduce you to Columbo.
BBC show, I believe.
No, it's not. It's let's talk about One Piece.
Smoker would be a good Batman.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we've seen traits that line up with that.
Also, super not a cop. The most anti-cop there is.
I mean, but Smoker doesn't care what his
he doesn't listen to his bosses. He just demands his bosses listen to him and does what he wants to do.
And Tashigi's what? A very bad Robin?
You really hate Tashigi.
Anyways, moving past that. And then we get kind of introduced maybe to Mr. 2. I literally saw the 2 panels of Mr. 2 and I like shivers. I was just like, this is how he was introduced. That's so epic.
I don't want to talk too much about him. Just I wrote down a bunch and then I moved it all down to just talk about it later.
The thing is,
I shortened it down.
I think
he's gonna be important. What?
He is on the way to go kill someone, so yeah.
Again.
I think with
gonna get in a boat crash.
I think what the anime does really well is it casts the voices for everybody like to the point. Like it's really well done.
Yeah.
And like with Mr. 3, his voice is like really high. Like you don't like when I was reading it, I didn't expect his voice to be that high, but when you watch the anime, it clicks for you. Like this guy, he's a pompous, like weirdo, and he's obsessed with art. So like perfect voice for him. Weird, high voice for him. And with Mr. 2, his voice is just like so iconic. I could hear it when I was reading his lines in that last chapter. It's just like his voice is always. I didn't think that it would be in my head, but with Mr. 2, it's immediately, like, I could tell his personality and why they chose that voice for him. And that voice actor does a really good job of portraying Mr. 2, so I wanted to gush about that for a bit.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk more about Mr. 2 as well, but I think most of the stuff I wrote down would be more appropriate once we're a bit more familiar with them, so...
I'm excited.
But, that's a good segue to, like, at the end of the arc there, we got 2 teasers. We saw...
ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we saw the back of Mr. 2 and some of his crew, and then we also saw, like, Nami is sick. She has a fever. She's starting to burn up. And as the crew is on their way to Alabasta. No.
Nami getting sick?
You might be
No,
thinking of
not
Johnny and
Nami.
Yosaku getting sick, right? Or were they sick? No, they just got shot by a
They
cannon.
helped them after other people got sick. Right? I'm not making this up, right?
What they helped who? Sorry.
That's when Johnny and whatever those
Johnny
guys
and Yosaku had like scurvy.
They showed up after. Oh, it was. Are you sure it was them?
Yeah.
Yes,
No, they
Yosaku
had
had
scurvy, and
scurvy.
then Usopp shot them with a cannon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was the crew that had like
No,
scurvy.
no, the crew has not gotten
Johnny
sick or
and
anything.
Okay. I'm losing my memory.
No, it's fair. I mean, like they were on the Mary when
Yeah.
when it was resolved. You know, Nami squeezed a bunch of citrus fruits into their mouth or whatever, and so you know, Nami was the one who treated people being sick, and now Nami is the one who is sick.
Obviously, Nami just has wax poisoning.
We'll find out what it is in the next arc. But what I wanted to ask is, we haven't done predictions and theories and like the 3 questions we're supposed to ask you at the end of every episode in a while. So
Okay.
I think you've given some of your theories already, that like Smoker and like the Marines are kind of gonna team up with Luffy and the others.
Of course.
Yeah.
After much fighting and misunderstandings.
Yes. Is there anything else that you predict that's going to happen in, let's say, like the next arc, not like the whole series, but like, let's say the next arc?
Vivi's gonna get her kingdom back. I'm unclear exactly what that entails, but it'll happen.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of anything else. Crocodile will be defeated. Shocking. The main villain loses. Other than that, though, I don't really got anything. We're gonna get a new crew member.
That's always a
We're gonna
safe bet.
find a new permanent crew member sometime in this arc, like the long form arc. What is it, Saga?
Oh,
We got a
Saga?
new permanent crew member because Vivi is sadly not a permanent crew member.
You think so?
No offense to Vivi, I wish she was, but she is not a permanent crew member.
Okay.
There are 2 reasons for this. 1, she has other obligations. Her entire motivation is a location. She can't keep traveling after. 2, if she was the main character from this early on, I would have seen way more art of her by this point.
Damn you, internet! Damn you.
I do have one note I didn't get to talk about, and now this is a good point to bring it up.
Okay.
I like how Nami and also now Vivi each they get 2 or 3 designs per an arc.
Yeah.
And every guy wears the same clothes every day of his life.
Oda
Nami
does
got 3 outfits
do that a
this
lot.
arc. I mean, I'm not complaining, to be clear, but it is a fact.
I like that aspect of like
Style.
the girls change their outfits because they like to stay clean, let's say, and the boys just don't care about that kind of thing. I like that.
The 4 of them do really, really seem like people that would wear the same outfit every day.
They do. Maybe not Sanji. Just
I mean, yeah,
to impress
Sanji,
Nami and Vivi.
Sanji just has the same suit. He has 10 of the same suit. He changes every day.
That's fair.
I forgot to say this, but Sanji actually gives his coat to Nami when she's not wearing anything. Like you can see in the next panel, he's not wearing
It is her best design, to be clear.
Suit coat, Sanji's coat on Nami is her best design.
Yes.
I like that little gentleman.
Unironically, it's really good. I wish that was her design. It looks cool.
Funny enough, sort of along the lines of what you're talking about there, one of, I guess, really my only big issue with this arc was kind of early on, but it was just, I don't like how consistently Luffy and Usopp, mansplain to Vivi and Nami, oh, the giants are fighting for honor, and to directly quote Usopp,
I'm gonna assume
what do you know?
A lot.
This is a battle between real
I've accepted
men.
that when I started reading it.
I don't know. I just didn't really like them. Like, there's a good amount of members, and they had to explain it to the only two female cast members. And I get that it's also to explain the fight to the readers and their stand-ins, but why did the two stand-ins have to be the two female cast members? I just didn't like how it was handled. But it's like women don't understand, so we'll explain to them.
I don't think it's a women thing. I think it's just like these two are more intelligent in terms of logic. Like they're both very logical people, Vivi and Nami, and they just didn't understand. Like Vivi's also very. I don't know if you could see this eye aggro, but it seems like she's very anti-fighting in general. Like she doesn't like it, but she'll do it for self-defense. And the fact that these two giants are fighting just for honor just doesn't make sense to her. I think the fact that they're female is just, let's say coincidence. Let's say females are more logical in general, but like there's always exceptions to the generalizations, of
male
course.
cast members are morons.
That's true.
Who like
But
fighting.
Luffy does say to Dory before he goes to fight, he's like, if this god told you to die, would you die? And Dory's like, you just don't understand.
Really going to one Luffy is a super atheist. They're really, really hitting that nail on the head.
I don't think he was super atheist. I think he was asking a logical question of like, I don't want this guy that I just met, he's really cool and I love him, and I don't want him to die because of something out of his control. Like somebody interfered with the fight, and he didn't like that somebody interfered. Like he's respected their duel, but because somebody interfered with their fight, and Dory's using like, oh, the gods didn't look favorably down on me. That's just like, I feel like to Luffy, that's like, oh, that's just an excuse. Like, why are you just saying that? Like, why don't you just tell him that I got injured, and then you can fight later when you're healed on equal terms? Mm-hmm. I think it wasn't just the female characters who were questioning it. It was Luffy who questioned it when Dory was put in such extreme circumstances.
Yeah, and so, I did like the scene where Dory is like enraged after the ale explodes, and mm-hmm. obviously he's not going to listen to anything being said right then. Like he right. completely trusts Brogy. Obviously, the only people on the island, to his knowledge, are the Straw Hats, and so Vivi's trying to talk to him, and Luffy's like, "Here's my hat," squares up the fight with Dory. And, Luffy's aware, like, Dory isn't going to listen to anything. I'm just going to beat him up and knock him out. I'll show him I fight with honor, and that he wouldn't resort to... I'm not someone who would resort to exploding ale to take out my enemies. So, like, that was an instance where I was okay with it, because it wasn't, like, explicitly stated of, like, trying to explain it or anything. It was just an instance of, like, I don't know, Luffy just sort of stepping in and instinctually knowing, okay, he's not listening right now. I need to settle this so that he can calm down and will listen, It fits with the whole idea of talking through, fighting and not words. Which has worked for Luffy so far.
Through fighting and not words.
Yeah. I'll talk with my fists. Very common shonen trope. Yeah.
I'm just of the opinion that there's... Sorry. I'm just of the opinion that there's more nuance to the explanation to Vivi and Nami. And like, if you look at it, even Usopp was confused at first about why they're fighting, and then he kind of understood it, maybe because he's a man, maybe because he wants to be a brave warrior of the sea and that's his goal, and they kind of defined that for him. But I think it's not like, oh, women don't understand. I think it's just women are more prone to logical approaches, and women look at men fighting and they think that's stupid, but men look at men fighting and they think that's like, it's a different story for them. And that's just a fact of life. And, that's my opinion of it, but of course you can have your own. I think it's more nuanced. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I entirely agree, but I see
Yeah.
what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I get your perspective as well.
Yeah,
to be honest. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. And
explanation.
there also wasn't anyone else there, so just setup wise, I understood, writing wise,
Yeah.
why it was happening. It just, was frustrating.
I see where you're coming from, yeah. But I think we need to ask Inegro. We haven't asked you this in a while, I think. What is the
no.
One Piece?
Oh. Control of fate.
Ooh. Did that
come up with
change
good
after
theories every time.
Logtown? Was that
Yeah.
interesting?
I'm still going on the theory of what's his name? Robert. Was that his name?
Roger.
Roger.
Robert. Okay, real quick, just so you
Yes.
remember this. It's Gold Roger because Jolly Roger, like the flag of a pirate ship.
Okay. So I'm still under the theory that Gold Robert, he planned his death and knew everything that was going to happen. Yep, he did it. It's like Davy Jones' heart, but with time travel, future seeing. Theoretically, I'm not going to go into it too much because then I would probably drop it. But yeah, that's it. It's the control of fate.
Okay.
That's a really interesting.
A literal, like, object, or I mean, it could be like you open the box and then you have the power. Mm-hmm. It is definitely not the friends we made along the way.
I mean, that is
learned in the
that
past
is an Oda quote.
129 chapters. It is just a meme.
Okay.
I guess real quick, last question for you. What do you think the next island will look like? Like environment-wise.
Are we stopping it somewhere before Alabastra? I don't know what it's
So
called.
I'll tell you the name of the next arc.
Okay, let's hear it.
The next arc is named Drum Island.
Gonna be it's Moana. We're gonna go see Moana.
Okay, interesting.
Like an archipelago.
Johnson.
You're thinking like Hawaii vibes.
Like Hawaii a long time ago vibes.
Interesting.
What is it? Is there a name? What's the name for that? I don't know.
Tropical.
Like what if I say Moana, you know what I'm saying. Like what is
the Pacific Islands?
Yeah,
Tropical
I guess.
Islands?
Like but not like the location. I mean the people and the culture.
They are known as forget the name. I think they're just Pacific Islanders. I don't know their specific like
around that. You know what I'm trying to say though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No offense to any one of those cultures.
Let me look it up.
Polynesian culture?
Yeah, there you go. That's the word. Polynesian.
Okay.
Apologies if it's incorrect.
In the past, that sort of thing. That's what I'm going with. They're going to play drums in a ritual of some sort.
Okay.
Either that or
I think that's it, because
like
Polynesian culture is like Hawaii,
two.
New Zealand, Samoa. That sounds right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Is there anything else? Are we still doing?
We gotta rank the arc. Let's hear it, Lucian. What's the current ranking?
Let me pull up the chart.
I hate the ranking. I hate it.
It's my favorite part.
Just enjoy it. Just read it and enjoy it.
No, I can't. I have to have a list.
So
that's how I can enjoy it.
The group rankings are number 1 Arlong Park, number 2 Logtown, number 3 Whiskey Peak, number 4 Baratier, number 5 Syrup Village, Number 6, Orange Town. Number 7, Reverse Mountain. Number 8, Romance Dawn.
I think this is going to be like the last arc for me. I don't like Little
Number
Garden. It's
3.
my least favorite arc in the whole series.
Really?
Yeah.
Number
It's
3.
literally because of that candle service crap. For me, it's the lowest. This is the last bad arc in the entire series for me, so I'm very excited to get this over and done with.
Yeah.
I would put it above Whiskey Peak.
Wow. Okay.
I think it had some weaknesses, but its strengths were really good.
Maybe I should put it
Solution.
above Romance Dawn.
Lucian, where would you put it?
Let's see. Park,
I think I'm being
Lowdown,
too harsh on it because
Caves.
of my memories.
Yes. Okay, that's fine though. Again, you have your own personal list. This is the list where we get to argue.
Like, we should have argued at the end.
I
Bro, we
guess-
could have had a whole episode where we're just arguing
then I
about
would have
rankings.
forgotten what happened in this arc entirely.
I guess in between Whiskey Peak and Reverse Mountain for me, so probably
Do that.
5.
Saflan, do you think it can? You want it lower?
Sure, I don't really care. I don't like these rankings anyways.
We don't. That is the point. You gotta care.
Fine. I agree with Lucian. It should be between Whiskey Peak and Reverse Mountain.
Me too. I like it. Yay. We all agreed happily
well,
with
for me-
no coercion happening in there.
To be clear, that's my personal ranking. Whiskey Peak and Reverse Mountain are 3 and 7 on the group ranking.
This is it's so confusing. I get mixed up all the
I
time.
meant, where do you think it would? Where do you want it on the?
So yeah, I put it like 5. So
above and between what?
So below Baratier, above Syrup Village.
I want it above Baratier. Definitely.
I just, yeah, sure, whatever.
This is. Where do you want it?
I hate this
Do you
arc.
want it there? Okay, you want it lower then.
I'm not the right person to ask this question. I despise it.
But that's why I want that. I want the give me that passion. Tell me how much you hate it. Fight for it to be lower.
No, I won't. I will agree with whatever you guys want to do with it.
No, that's
because I hate it too much.
This is our group list.
It's literally just like
that's why it's so
because
good.
of my experience, like rewatching the series. I always dread coming up a Little Garden. I'll always be like, should I just skip it? And I'll skip it. You know, it's like the one arc in the series I will skip. You know, which is really bad because I love all of One Piece. I love One Piece so much. I rewatch it all the time. But the fact that I skip Little Garden, I skipped Syrup Village too, but I liked it a lot in the manga, which is why I rated it high. But it's just the villains are just so badly done here, even though Mr. Theory was really good. See, I'm hating on it too much.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not. If I hated an arc, I would argue for it to be as low as humanly possible.
Yeah, like every episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I will go with between Syrup Village and Baratier. I think that's a good place to put it in the group list. But for my personal list, it's only above Romance Dawn. It's the second worst.
For my personal list, it's way higher. See? Perfect. That's why I to do these lists. I want to hear, I want to hear you be heated about it.
You're just triggering me. You're a troll, Inegro.
Well, I mean, this is why, me and Lucian, and mostly me, can argue about, I don't know.
Mostly
I'm trying to think of something. Is this video game good? And
I don't like
I'll
arguing,
argue yes, and he'll argue no, and we'll argue about it for 2 hours. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's just fun.
I don't
like British culture.
I don't like ranking things because, I'm a writer and story structure is hard and writing is hard. It's just hard to get it it correctly. And this is like early. He's not at his best yet. Judge him when he's doing like what he had like with like the more experience you have, the better you are as a writer. And judging somebody based on just like one arc or anything like that, it's a dumb thing for me to say. And just like ranking, it's just like I know you love ranking though. And I kind of liked our episode where we talked about the ranking and like that was fun actually. So I see why you.
It is very fun. I do like it a lot.
It is fun to rank, but I don't like hating on things, I guess is the better way to say it.
Fair.
Well, like, I don't like hating on things sometimes, and then other times I do. But only like when it doesn't matter. When it's something like, okay, what's my least favorite? I don't even know. Whatever my least favorite arc is. Like, man, I hate that arc. I don't remember which one.
Reverse Mountain.
Like Reverse Mountain, that's so bad, I think. I hate it so much, but you know who cares? Like who has a strong opinion on Reverse Mountain? I almost forgot the name of the arc. Wow, it's such an important thing. Reverse Mountain. No one cares. And if you care, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. Like, I'll hate on, like, I'm trying to find something. Hey, The Last of Us 2. I hate that game. If you like it, I don't care. Cool. I'm glad you like the thing that I don't like. I'm glad someone was able to get good enjoyment out of it.
There are arcs I will defriend you if you do not like. There are arcs I will cut you out of my life if you don't like.
We're gonna see.
You see though, like for me, I think I used to be that way where I used to like vehemently like really dislike something or vehemently really like something. But then I started reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like trash. Like it's really bad. Like the entire it's all bad, but it's good at the same time. It's weird to describe it. It's just
some hot takes up here.
Okay, listen to me. Part 5, let's say. Spoilers for Part 5 if you want to.
I've not seen Part 5.
You haven't seen Part 5? Okay.
He hasn't seen anything. He's seen Part 2.
I know that's not true. I saw Part 1 and 2, and I watched the first season of Part 3, but then dropped it because Part 3 is garbage.
Yeah, why did you drop it though? Because there was a lot of filler, right?
Part 3 is hot garbage. Actually, it's cool.
Yeah. It's okay.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Awful.
Part 3, the middle part of Part 3.
This is a JoJo podcast now.
Listen, the middle part of Part 3 is bad. Like it's filled with a lot of filler, and I get that he was trying to go for around the world in 80 days kind of thing, but he needed to cut a lot of that stuff. A lot of those fights, they did not need to be there at all. The thing about Part 3 is that it sets up Parts 4, 5, and 6.
I know.
Literally, you can't read, you don't know what's happening in Part 4, 5, and 6 if you don't do all of Part 3. Which really sucks because Part 3 is just, it's not bad setup, but it has a lot of filler. And the thing with Part 3 is that it has a great ending too. It has a great beginning. Like Araki is really good at beginnings and endings. He's not good at the middle. He's really shit at middle. And I think I can say that I love JoJo's, but I can also say that he's a shit writer for middle parts at least.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like, ranking or like 10 out of 10. Like when I do a review, I don't say like 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or anything like that. I say I rate it based on like a show that I know or like a show that it reminds me of or something like that. Like when I was doing WandaVision, I said I rate WandaVision JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, That's what I said. Like I rate it in weird things, because I don't like the 10 out of 10 that I take, because writing is just so complicated and it's hard to get down. I can't come from the outside and judge what you're doing without knowing what your intentions are. And
Well,
you
at the
can
same
only
time, actually, I'll argue that death of the author. Like,
No, I don't like
I,
that.
no,
That doesn't make
I
any
am
sense.
a big advocate. Who cares what they
No,
thought? They wrote down that at the end of the day.
no, it doesn't make sense. Because death of the author is the idea that you can judge a work of art without putting the author's input on it, but then that story doesn't exist without the author's experiences.
But you're right.
I think you can get
But
additional context from it, but the story should
yes,
be able to
of
be
course.
gleaned. Like, you should be able to fully get a story from without knowing anything about the author, Like,
Yeah, but knowing the author adds context to it. That's why, like, in English class, you study the author first and then you read the work, right?
sure, but if you just go to a library and pick up a book and you read the book, then you don't have the context for the author. So, if you're not
Oh,
reading it in
like, I don't know
class,
anything
is the
about
book
Oda.
still good?
I don't know.
I think it's both. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
they're both
a
valuable
simple.
ways of reading.
Yeah,
They're just
like you can separate it. Sometimes it can't be separated. Like, okay, this is a much more serious topic, but like J.K. Rowling, what a terrible human being. And I personally have trouble. I don't ever intend to go back, but
it is tough
I
to
still
separate
enjoyed.
because there are
I still
instances
enjoyed the work.
within Harry Potter
Mhm.
of
No, you can't
you
judge her
know
like that. She has her own views and her own opinions, and at the end of the day, she wrote Harry Potter.
right,
That's
but
not right.
That's what
because
I'm saying.
her
Like,
views come through in her writing, uh you know
therefore,
if I
it's
disagree
like
with
that
them,
is an instance
then
where it's hard for me to separate the work. Whereas,
right.
like, I'm literally looking for anything. The Hobbit that was on my Blu-ray shelf. I don't know why I own that on Blu-ray. Uh, that's a movie. I don't know anything about, or that was a book. I know very little about J.R.R. Tolkien. He's a white guy from the early 30s, or right? I don't know. When was he born? He was born in the early 19th,
He was a World War One
early 20th
veteran.
century.
I believe he's a
Yeah,
World War
I
One
like.
veteran.
Look, I mean, maybe he was a good person. I don't know. We're gonna go with the theoretical universe where he, had some old-fashioned views
Or
and
a
whatever.
better example is
Yeah, maybe I'm kind of rambling. You go.
Lovecraft.
Yes.
Incredibly horrifically racist person. he
What's his name?
H.P. Lovecraft, he famously
Oh,
named
yeah.
his dog the N-word.
That's funny.
Horrific racist.
He's the
Awful,
perfect
awful,
example.
horrible person. But most people don't know that, and so reading, his books, and again, he's so impactful on the Lovecraftian genre that many people just read books inspired by him, without ever even reading his books.
Everyone who reads any mild fantasy has at some point consumed some media inspired by his work.
100%, yeah.
And from
Yeah, and
what I
you
do, like, if I believe right, he did later on in life come to
but
start
okay,
his view. I think that's him. That could
but
be Dr.
judging
Seuss.
okay, I'm going
I guess,
to play devil's
I mean,
advocate. Like,
let me finish because I'm going there. In that I'm saying it is not a one-for-one thing. It is a by the
You're saying it's
scenario
case by
thing.
case.
Yes. It's a very case-by-case thing, and it's by person by person. Like, I don't blame you for not separating, or like for not being able to separate the work. And I don't, in a good way. I don't care. Like, that is how you see it.
mhm.
Whereas, if okay, I'm reading. What's the thing you like? Name anything you like. Just
Black
some piece of
Clover.
media. Black Clover. I don't know anything about the author of Black Clover. I'm probably never going to know anything. You probably know a lot. And that probably informs your experience of the piece of media. And that is just as valid of a reading as me, who reads it and sees something different in it and knows nothing about the author or their intent.
I just think for me, people are more than just one action that they do. I mean, with the H.P. Lovecraft, of course, that's horrible, but you can't deny that he's inspired generations of horror,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, no,
that's
of
exactly
course.
what I'm saying.
You
Yeah.
can't just,
I'm
like,
completely
erase that
I'm
from
completely
No.
history.
I'm not saying it should be erased.
Right.
No, not at all.
And
I'm
maybe
meaning like you go. Sorry.
and maybe even just, like I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't know the experience of these people, and to judge them based on these views and opinions that they have. You know, every person has a different opinion.
That's exactly the point, though. Is that I don't know
And
the like even
okay.
if I read every interview the author's ever done, I don't know them. So I don't. To an extent, you have to have death of the author because you don't know everything they've been through. Whether you read every single interview they've ever done in their life, or don't even know their name or what they look like or anything about them, there at some part it is about your experience with the piece of media you are consuming.
And I also don't like Death of the Author because these people might be from different countries that they like the Oni thing, for example. I didn't know that that was a thing in Japan where you
Right,
have
it's a different
rivals,
culture,
the
yeah.
blue and red. Yeah, it's a different culture. And if I like didn't read up on like especially with the latest arc in One Piece or like any Japanese medium at all, like Detective Conan taught me all I know about Japanese culture, and Gintama taught me a lot about Japanese culture because I went and I researched it and I looked up the background of the authors and what they were taking from, what they're inspiring from, right?
Hmm?
And just for us who aren't from the country, who this wasn't meant for, they go and they just translate it into Zolo, right? And like we're all human beings, and I don't like that we can take somebody else's like work of fiction that's meant for a certain culture. We take it and we judge it in our culture, in our standards.
But that is to an extent. I know this is not what you're saying. That I can't to the extreme of that is that I didn't live the same life as the person or whoever, not me. And we didn't live the same. We don't have the same culture or the same life as the author, but we can still consume the media.
Yeah.
So we don't again we don't have that same culture, which means we will have a different opinion and a different perspective on it.
I agree with
At
that.
the end of the thing is that everyone to a extent has to have the death of the author. You are not the author, and no one is the author. Only they
I
can have their perspective on that work.
I agree with that, but we shouldn't villainize the person who did it.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I don't mean that at all. I'm honestly forgetting where this whole thing started. To be completely fair, I don't remember why we got to this. What were we talking about? Lucian, help me. Lucian, what was the original point? I want to make a good loop. He's not saying anything.
No, I can't remember either.
What I'm trying to say is we rambled too much for sure, and media is cool, and people are multifaceted.
Yeah.
Yep,
And I think
everyone
the
has a different
podcast is a
perspective.
cool way of
Yeah,
showing how, like, Saflam and I have. Saflam has a lot more knowledge on One Piece and the, like, general knowledge about it and Oda. I have, more knowledge, but not, as much. Uh, and then aggro has none, So it's almost an interesting sort of sliding scale, uh, sort of similar to what you guys were talking about of these different, you know, uh, like we're all at these different points of like how informed we are in our reading of this. So yeah.
In about 5 weeks, I'm going to listen to this. We're going to listen to this episode, and I'm going to be like, "Oh, that's how this started. I should have ended this way." That would the loop. But I honestly don't remember what the first start of this thing was.
That's
You should
all right.
definitely make this its own segment, specifically end the chapter discussion in the thing. I like how you made episode 2 the beginning section was bad intro.
I think that about wraps up this week. Thank you very much for tuning in to Under the Iron Flag.
Wait, hello?
Oh, sorry, we
Hello?
couldn't hear you, so I started to wrap up.
Yeah, I was assuming you were you
No,
were
I
muted or
cut
something,
out, like,
you
my
were gone.
internet's fast out.
Oh,
I'm
Okay,
so
we couldn't
sorry.
hear you, so I
That's
just started to
okay.
wrap up.
Yeah, I assumed
no,
you were muted, and it was just well, it's the end anyway.
I'm
We'll just
so
end.
sorry.
You're good.
We'll address it later.
I just wanted to say that Usopp's a big liar. He does a lot of lies and all that stuff. And one of the lies that he told Kaya was about a giant goldfish that its poop is so big, it's like stepping on an island. He told this to Kaya
Oh, you're right.
before reaching Little Garden.
Yeah.
And in Little Garden, we encounter a monster or an
the
animal.
island eater.
The island eater was a giant goldfish, and Dory and Broggy are talking about how they landed on one of his feces and how they thought it was an island.
I think that literally might be Little Garden.
Yes. So a running gag throughout the series is that whatever lies Usopp tells, they will always come true. So I want you to look out for that eye negro. Just like he's told a lot of lies so far, but they all do come true, and I'll point them out throughout the series if I do remember them, if I can see them. But that's just the first of many, actually.
When he tells some character, we're gonna get married as an undercover thing, I'll know.
Okay, yeah, that was just the last thing I wanted to say.
All right.
That was a good outro. If you want to send us an email, do so at undertheironflag@gmail.com. That is undertheironflag@gmail.com.
Okay.
I haven't checked the email in like a week, so I hope you didn't send one.
We
haven't even gotten to the recording.
Oh yeah, we did. I don't think we even did that in the second episode, did we?
No, not for
the second
like
episode released Monday.
Or the day these comes out. You are not. We don't record them weeks ahead of time. That would be ridiculous.
We are also on Twitter at Under the Iron Flag, I believe.
Twitter.
And
yes.
Are we on anything else?
Without the O,
we are
and
under
iron.
the iron. We are at Under the Iron Flag without the O. We hit the character limit, so there's no O.
We tried.
We are at the Under the Iron Flag.
I didn't even know that.
Name is Under the Iron Flag, but our @ is Under the Iron Flag without the O.
Under the Earn Flag. We have a Baltimore accent in the title.
Anything else, guys? You need to plug in?
I think that's
I think just our usual personal stuff. You've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on Twitch.
I'm on YouTube. And this was another episode of We Just Want to Talk About Next Week. We'll see you guys next time on Moana's Drum Island. Have a good one.
Bye.